Hello, bom dia, bonsoir, you name it. Bem-vindo, bienvenue. I'm trying to get you in the mood for a trip across Europe. Let's talk about our short stays. Thank you for tuning in. Today, we're going to be focusing on our newest program line, Short Stays with the Good Life Abroad. For those who don't know, I'm Andrew Motiwalla, the founder and CEO of the Good Life Abroad. We're going to be diving a little bit deeper into our four new short stay destinations today. At the end of the talk, we'll open it up to questions and answers. So please do not raise your hand. Do not write in the chat. We will not see it. We will not call on your hand. Use the Q&A icon at the bottom of the Zoom toolbar, and you can type your questions in there. And when we get to the Q&A section, we'll then address as many questions as we can. So use the Q&A tool icon on the Zoom toolbar to submit your questions. Hopefully, we cover some of your questions during the presentation. So without further ado, let's go. So as you may know, the Good Life Abroad has always offered a month-long experience in many iconic cities across Europe. And just recently, we rolled out short stays. And short stays are, as the name implies, 2-week programs in these four cities: Porto, Portugal; Edinburgh, Scotland; London, England; and Nice, France. So let's dive a little deeper to see what they have for us. So for those who aren't aware of how the program works, the Good Life Abroad and all of our programs, whether there are signature month-long programs or 2-week short stays, is fundamentally an independent experience where you have your apartment, you live there, and you explore a town at your leisure, at your pace, see the things you want to see. However, there is a community of like-minded travel lovers who live around you. And in the case of the short stays, everyone lives in the same building, and you have the support of a local community manager. This is a person who works for us, who is there to organize activities, events throughout the course of your stay, whether it's 2 weeks or 1 month, and is also there to support you in your exploration. They get to know you, they find out what things you like or what things you want to do during your stay, and then they can help recommend things like, if I want to travel to a nearby town, what's the best way to do that? If I want to go to the opera, how do I get tickets? If I want to go to a gallery or restaurant recommendations, etc. This is your local friend who lives in that town and is there to support you. And you'll see them at all the activities and events, but they're also available by text message Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. So you can text them and ask questions and get support as you need it. In addition, we provide travel medical insurance. So if something were to happen, you have insurance for your stay, and we can connect you to English-speaking medical care as well. And for those who want to maintain their wellness routines, our community managers can connect you with optional programming if you want to join a yoga studio or a Pilates studio or a gym or go swimming. These are all things that our community managers can help arrange for you. And we have fully serviced apartments. With the short stays specifically, I want to call it one of the differences is that these are fully serviced apart hotels, meaning they're apartments, but they're all in one building and it's sort of managed like a hotel, meaning there's a front desk and we'll see more of the amenities that a typical hotel might have. This is the difference between our month-long signature programs in which you're in independent apartments. You're in apartments in a building, and it's really like living like a local because you are it's just you in your apartment. And if something needs to get fixed or whatnot, you have to call a property management firm and they have to come and take care of it. This is different, and we'll talk more about the differences and similarities between the programs in a second. But let's focus on what the idea of the short stay. The short stays are 14 nights, 15 days. And we here at the Good Life Abroad are big believers in the idea of living abroad and spending time really immersing yourself in a place and getting to know it, not not sort of quick in and out. We want to do the cultural immersion. And so our initial idea was that this is a great way to extend a month-long program with a 2 week program in the same region. So, for example, of spending a month in Lisbon with us, really getting to know Lisbon and the region around there, but then going and spending 2 weeks, let's say in Porto, in northern Portugal, or spending a month in Paris and then doing 2 weeks in Nice, France. So we thought this is a great way to continue that immersion into a region. And that's why we have planned some of the dates of the short stays to combine with the dates of our month-long signature program. So you can do that Lisbon to Porto or Paris to Nice. But you could also combine short stays. You can do 2 weeks in Scotland and 2 weeks in London and put them together to create a month-long experience in two cities in the United Kingdom, for example. And you'll see that the dates of our London and Scotland short stays are such that they connect nicely. Um, that said, we realize that sometimes you don't have the time to get away for a month, but you really want to do something that's immersive and you don't want to just do a tour where you're zipping through a whole country in a week or two. So you can also book the short stay as a standalone program. There's not an obligation to make an extension of a month-long program. You can also do it as a standalone, but we're big fans of the long-term immersion. That's why we kind of focus on that. That's sort of what makes us special. So let's talk a little bit about the distinctions between the short stays and the signature programs. Um, Overall, it's still a Good Life Abroad program. They're very similar. You have your community manager, as I mentioned. You have the activities and events, meaning in both programs, you arrive, we provide an orientation, show you how to take public transportation, how to get your groceries, housewares, just sort of orient you into the city, do a welcome party, get to know your fellow community members. Um, every Tuesday, we do our Tuesday lunch club and unique and different types of restaurants to help immerse you into the food and also to get to know each other. On Wednesdays, we do our cultural activity, whether it's a walking tour of some kind, historical or architectural. We do a cooking class. And then Thursdays, we do our happy hours. So it's our Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday kind of programming that we do in both of the programs. However, the short stay, as the name implies, is 2 weeks versus 4 weeks minimum for our signature programs. Um, the short stays tend to be in smaller towns. Obviously, London is a giant city, but in general, the short stays are in smaller towns in the region where we have our signature programs. And as I mentioned earlier, and I want to double click on this, which is with the short stays, we intentionally chose to work with full service apart hotels. And why? Because it's one thing if you're there for a month and you're really immersing yourself and living like a local and you're living in a building with local residents from that city. But with that comes the obligations of having an independent apartment. Oh, my toilet is clogged. I might need to go, figure that out. Call the property management firm. When you have 2 weeks, you don't have as much time. And so we just wanted to do something where if there's an issue, you go downstairs to the receptionist, say, hey, I have a problem. Oh, yep, we'll take care of that right away. And it's more of a hotel situation. So it's a lot easier and streamlined to get things taken care of versus an independent living in an independent apartment. That's a big distinction between the two programs. Um, and also with the full service apart hotels, because it's a shorter period of time, what we are really focused on at the Good Life Abroad is to try to foster the sense of community. This community is what really makes our program special. If you haven't experienced one of our programs, you might think, oh, okay, it's kind of cool, but I really like the idea of just an immersion. Yes, the immersion is great, but what people always say at the end of our program is that community, I didn't realize it, but those people, many of them became my friends. And so what we do with the short stays in these full service apart hotels is look for properties that have community spaces, common areas where after a day of exploration, you can come together, have a drink, play cards, play a game, just catch up, or in the morning, kind of meet up in the lounge or the gardens or wherever it is. So having a space for you to come together and foster that sense of community during your 2 week program. All right. So some important info. So I just want to make it very clear. Short stays are available as a standalone program, but also can be an extension to our 1 month signature program, or short stays can be connected 2 and 2. And if you've never traveled with us before and you book 2 programs together, you do get essentially the alumni discount on the second program. It's as if you had gone on one program, and then on the second program, you get our standard alumni discount, which is $200 off per person. Our alumni get the $200 off automatically on everything they book, because that's part of being an alumni and part of being in the Good Life Abroad community. The short stays are currently only available in the 4 cities we're talking about today. But we are expanding. We're going to have many more cities with short stays. They will be different from the cities where we have our signature month-long programs, but we will be continuing to expand short stays as well. The only place where we do both short stays and month-long programs is London. And as I mentioned, in the short stays, everyone stays in that same building. So we talked about this sense of community. So what do I mean by that? So if you're new to the Good Life Abroad, this will be new to you. If you know about our programs in depth, this will be old hat, so bear with me. But our programs are all cohort based. There's a start date for every program, then everyone arrives on the start date, and then we get settled in, and the next morning we start with orientation, and that night we have the welcome party. Before you even go, we have a Zoom call with everyone in your cohort and our community manager. So you get to know who else is there. You get to know the community manager. And we talk about sort of arrival day logistics. And then we use WhatsApp as our way of communication. WhatsApp is a text messaging tool that is very popular across Europe, less so in the United States, but it's really great for our purposes because it has a feature called communities. And that's what we're all about. And as you can see in the screenshot, this happens to be an example from Florence, Italy. At the top, we have the announcements. This is where our community manager sends messages to the group. Hey, meet tomorrow, 10 a.m. Here's the link to Google Maps. Click it. See you there. But then there's these subgroups. And these subgroups can be created by you, our community members. And it's a way for people to connect over shared affinities. So in this group, you can see solo travelers in the group wanted to connect, people who wanted to go running, or a book club. So I've seen potlucks, people organizing around a potluck or organizing around a weekend getaway. It's whatever you want to do. So the community starts to take on a life of its own. We have our scheduled activities, but that's sort of a framework for connection. But as the connection happens, the community starts to, hey, let's go do this. Who wants to go to the so-and-so museum, or who wants to go to the next town over with me? And then people sort of jump in, and the community takes, like I said, a life of its own, and lots of other activities start happening within the community. What you find is, whether you're for a month or even 2 weeks, you'll find, wow, I thought it was a long time, but it went by really fast because we're doing all sorts of things, and I made all these new friends, and it was super fun. So that's WhatsApp, and that's the glue we use to connect our community when we're not in person together. This is also what you would use to communicate with your community manager when he or she is not with you during our events. So it's, in this case, sending in a message, oh, hi, I'm trying to figure out how to get to the next town over. Which train should I take again? Oh, that's one. Okay, thank you. And so they will support you, or I would like to plan a weekend getaway. How do I, what do you recommend that I should do if I want to go to, let's say, that town down in another part of the region. On average, our community is about 15 people. On the low end, it's about 10, and the high end could be in the low 20s. Our average age is 67 and a half, 68. About 30% of our community members are solo travelers, and they're welcomed warmly, embraced by our group. It's not a weird thing where there's solo travelers and couples over there. It's very inclusive because the whole idea of what we're selling is community, promoting a sense of community. Most of our travelers are from the United States. We have about 9% from Canada and some who come from other places. But the thing that they all have in common is a deep love of travel, and they've traveled extensively and love community cultural immersion. I think this is really key. This is what binds us, and it's interesting, especially as we get older and we retire. For those of us who are retired, where our identity is not wrapped up in our job or in the kids' school. It's sort of like those things have fallen away as we go, and we rediscover, our passions and say, "Oh, wow, travel." And this turns out for many people like, this is my tribe. These are the people who love travel and cultural immersion and appreciate cultures. And it's really cool because um, it's just sort of the next level of community in our life as we move into retirement. So that's community. So let's dive into this. Nice. Nice, the French Riviera. It's beautiful. Those who don't know it, it's on the southern coast of France in the Côte d'Azur. Nice is sort of broken into two parts. If you talk about central Nice, there's sort of the newer part, but it's still very historic and beautiful. And then there's the old Nice, the old town, the Villevue, which is the very narrow, winding streets and little shops and cafes, and it's all beautiful. The old section of town and the newer part, which is actually what they call it, the heart of Nice, according to Nice, and it's still much older than anything in the United States, in most parts of the United States. So it's still very beautiful and historic. And what's lovely about Nice, as you can see the photo below with the statue in the plaza, that's in the newer part. So you can tell the old part's really old. Um, and what's beautiful about Nice, it's very walkable to explore. And then there's the long coastline, and along it there's a long promenade that goes along the water, and you can walk for a couple miles and follow it along. So it's a beautiful, very outdoorsy kind of place. Great weather, very temperate weather, um, and then it has a light rail system that cuts right through the middle of the city. You can hop on, and you can be in any of the little towns like Eze or some of the other ones along the French Riviera that you hear about, but they're all right there, very easy to get to on this light rail. If you keep going, you end up in Monaco. You can easily go to Monaco just for the day, hang out on one of the beaches, go to the Casino Royale, and then shoot back to Nice. And if you wanted to keep going, 40 minutes away on the light rail, you're in Italy. So if you want to have an Italian experience, it's just down the road. So it's really beautiful, and there's a lot of artists who have lived in Nice or connected to Nice. So there's a lot of museums with great artwork. Marc Chagall has a museum there. There's a Matisse museum. So a lot of great art, a lot of culture, and obviously a lot of natural beauty to explore all along the French Riviera. And Nice is a great kind of home base, a good place to be based out of to do all of your exploration. Um, so the building where we're going to be living is right there. It's in central Nice. You can see it's about a block away from the Notre Dame Basilica, and you sort of see the yellowish coloring on the map. That's sort of the popular areas. There's a lot of shops and restaurants and whatnot and stores. So we're there, but and you can see you can walk right down towards the water, and there's a green belt. There's a little park area with a big fountain, pool, and then if you go past that green belt, off to the bottom right is the old Nice, the old city, and then the waterfront is all there. And you can see at the top the National Museum, Marc Chagall, down in the bottom left-hand corner, the Fine Arts Museum of Nice. Off to the left, you'll see if you look at the topography, it's sort of hilly and there's a parks, and so there's a lot of great stuff to explore. But you are in the center of things where we're going to be living. So here's some photos of the apartments to give you a sense. They're nice, clean, safe. I wouldn't say these are luxury, but they're very, very nice, clean, safe. They have a kitchen with a uh, um, stovetop. You have a microwave. There's a dishwasher, sink. There's a safe in the room or in the apartment. There's a little TV area. They have smart TVs. They have air conditioning. Um, there's a laundry room in the building, bathroom. But our idea is not you're spending all your time hanging out in the apartment for 2 weeks. We're about fostering community. So we love this property specifically for the community spaces. So as you can see on the left, there's some photos of the lounge area where people can come together and hang out on the couch, you can watch some TV or just kind of hang out, play some games, play billiards. There's also a garden out back, and there is an optional breakfast you can buy directly from the building. They'll serve breakfast outside in the garden in the morning, and it's a great place to grab a bottle of wine, hang out. Let's meet up in the garden. Let's play some cards, have a drink, plan out our weekend adventures that are coming up. So we really love this property for the community aspect of it. Let's move to Porto, Portugal. Porto is lovely. It is, um, I love Portugal in general, and I love Lisbon, but Porto is this much smaller, very walkable, very historic, a lot of culture kind of dripping from the historic buildings around you and the colorful tiles and the winding cobblestone streets. And if you like wine, Porto is very close to the Douro Valley. That's the wine growing region of Portugal. And you can easily make a day trip, go out, visit some vineyards, and come back into Porto. The city again is very walkable, very easy to get around, um, and really good food. So where are we? You can see we're again that yellow area is sort of like the more commercial, busier district. So we're right on the edge of that. So you're in a quieter area, but you just step out and a block down, you start to get into the hubbub of things, and you keep walking through the kind of commercial area, and you get down to the river, the Douro River. So you're in a great location um, and very easy to access everything. And the apartments themselves are very nice. This is one of the nicer properties we've seen in Porto. Excuse me. Um, we have one bedroom apartments, and I believe we have studio apartments available. Very nice finishings in this building, very design forward, I would put it. Again, all the amenities you'd expect. There's there's washing machines, and there's a dishwasher, all the cutlery, crockery, air conditioning, smart TVs. For a full list of amenities, you can contact our offices. But Porto is it's very nice. Very I like the design here. But again, I like the community space. I like the hangout, come together. You can see they have some outdoor community space and outdoor like tables. The whole building is sort of built around these courtyards, so you can come outside and kind of meet up in the courtyard. There is a cafe on the premise. It's run by a third party, but it's connected to the building, so it's easy to let's meet up in the cafe and get a coffee and hang out. There's a small gym area as well if you wanted to exercise. And there's this big lounge area that we can use at times for our groups. So again, it's very community focused. Edinburgh, man, if you know anything about Edinburgh, it's like a storybook, fairy tale. The architecture, it's like Harry Potter come to life, and the pubs and the all of that. It's just gorgeous. And the Edinburgh Castle is sort of the main iconic building you see in town. Um, and as you can see here on the map, our property where we're staying is right at the base of the Edinburgh Castle, and it's in the old town. It's in the historic area. You walk out of our building, and it's cobblestones, and you walk kind of up a little hill, and there's the old pubs, like just exactly as you imagine it. These old pubs and big long wooden bars, and just everything you imagine. You're right in the center of all the history, and you can walk over to the university area, and there's things there. There's museums around the University of Edinburgh. You can walk over to the new part of town. There's nice shopping, fine dining, and there's so much to explore. It's a very walkable city. So I love Edinburgh, and it's near the train station as well. As you can see, Waverley Station allows you to get to different parts of Scotland pretty easily. The apartments here, we're in one building again. It's this wild apart hotels, and you can see again, it's clean, safe, nice, straightforward. I wouldn't say it's luxurious by any means, but it's very nice. I've stayed here myself. Um, yeah, smart TVs, there's air conditioning, a safe, microwave, dishwasher, coffee maker. There's a two-burner electric stove top. Um, and if you see in the lower right-hand corner, our studio apartments, this is a little bonus for those who are interested in staying in a studio, have a view of the Edinburgh Castle right from your window, which is kind of cool. I will point out, you notice on the upper right, the bed, it's up against the wall. That's common in this property. The beds are up against the wall, so it's not where you have open space on both sides of the bed to make it easy to climb in. So just be aware of that. I want people to be aware of what's there. But again, the community space is what I love about this. It's a large community space. You can see there's tables in the middle. There's kind of seating off to the sides. It's really intended to foster community at this property. There's even a little like mini mart store if you wanted to grab some snacks, some food to take up to your apartment, some drinks. A lot of hangout space here. I think it's really beautiful and kind of design forward. There is a gym and there's also a communal laundry room with washers and dryers in the property as well. Um, let's see. Yeah, I love this property. It's really nice. London, I mean, what do I have to say about London? I think most people know about London. It has everything. It has the history, it has the modern, it has the museums, it has the theater. It's got all the neighborhoods that I love exploring, and the tube, the subway makes it really easy to get around. And best of all, I think that our community manager in a city like London is almost like even it's like more not more important, but it's just such an added bonus in a city like London because there's so much in London. I mean, you could spend months in London and not see everything. So having a local friend who's from London who can kind of guide you around, like, oh, how to get theater tickets for this show? What neighborhood should I go to if I want to explore this kind of thing? And having a local friend there to guide you and help you, it makes London become very manageable and makes it a great way to see the things you want and have the experiences you want in a 2 week period. So I think London, and this is one of the reasons we have London both as a month long, but also as a 2 week program, because it's a city where I think you benefit a lot from having a community manager there to help you. In London, we're located up at Paddington Station, right near Paddington Station. It's a beautiful new building, I think only 1 or 2 years old. And that Paddington area has these canals, and that whole area has been redeveloped. So it's very nice and new shops, offices, restaurants around there. And you can get to the station, you can walk the canals, you can take a boat ride through the canals, and then you can very easily hop in the tube and you could get to anywhere else you want in London. Paddington's a very well connected station. You can walk, if you just kind of walk east, you're in Marylebone, which I love, one of my favorite neighborhoods. You keep walking, get to the British Museum. Obviously, it's a great city for walking a lot, but also the tube makes it very easy to get all over the city very, very quickly. Um, and yet what I like is you're also, by being in Paddington, you're not in the totally crazy, loud, super busy part of town. So I like being close, but be having sort of a quiet, peaceful refuge to go to after a day of exploring in London. Here are the apartments. It's the same property company that has the apart hotel in Edinburgh as in London. It's called the Wild, Wilde, and you can see we have one bedrooms and studios here. Again, nice, clean, design forward pretty standard. No, would not say it's luxurious, but it's quite nice. It has the things that you need in the kitchen. You've got a little oven, microwave combo, a dishwasher, coffee maker, toaster, kettle, little seating area for meals, smart TV, air conditioning safe, all the things you would imagine. Walk-in showers in the bathroom. But again, the community, the hangout space on the main floor, I really love. It's time to come together. There's in both Edinburgh and London, you can purchase breakfasts if you want it, optional from the hotel. But you don't have to. I think a lot of our guests or a lot of our community members like to make their own breakfast there, or they like to go to the same cafe every morning because it's a way to get to know local people and sort of form those routines and habits of like, oh, this is my cafe, and they know what I like, and it's nice to kind of develop that sense of community with the broader neighborhood around you. But again, there's a gym and hangout spaces. All right, so unfortunately, we don't allow pets on our programs. Again, this is not a tour. We don't chauffeur you around in a bus to different places. It's fundamentally an independent experience, but with support and activities kind of sprinkled throughout your stay that help connect you to each other and also to the local culture. And so there's a lot of walking and taking of public transportation. Just be aware, because it's not a tour, we're not able to provide sort of mobility services. You may have visitors come stay with you. We do ask that you register them with us because, again, when you stay anywhere, you need to register with the local authorities. But we do ask that they not participate in the community activities. Otherwise, it gets disruptive. So many people have visitors coming and going. You don't know who's really part of the community. But again, there's so many activities that happen outside of the scheduled activities that your guests, your visitors, your friends can participate in that and get a little taste of what the good life abroad is all about. All right, so you're thinking, I'm interested. This seems kind of cool. Well, the next step is to go to our website, click the Book Now button, and you'll be able to filter based on different destinations, and you'll see the different configurations of apartments, whether it's a studio or a one bedroom. The prices vary by season and vary a bit. So you'll see all the options there, and you can pay $395 to hold your spot, $395 per person. A month later, you pay half, and then before you go, you pay the other half. And along the way, there's a cancellation policy where the closer you get to the start of your program, the less amount you can get refunded. And this is why many people buy trip cancellation insurance. Specifically, if something happens and you're, as you can see in this example, let's say less than 45 days away, it's no longer refundable. And this is where trip cancellation insurance comes in very handy. We encourage people to look at that. All right, we're time of the program where we go to your questions. Let me turn off the screen share and let's look at some of the questions that have popped up here. Yes, good question. All of the properties have elevators. So that is no problem for getting up and down. Yes, in the kitchens, cooking is not only allowed, it is encouraged. It's part of the fun for me and why I like staying with the good life abroad and not just in a hotel is going to the local market, asking my community manager, where's the local fresh market? And going and looking at all the ingredients for sale and picking up some things. And I'm not a huge cook, but to make a little salad or something in the evening or make breakfast, I like to go out for lunch and try different restaurants. So yes, cooking very much allowed and encouraged. Question, do all these programs include English speakers mainly, or are there native speakers included? Our programs are facilitated in English. Our community members who joined the Good Life Abroad primarily English speakers. But obviously you're in a place, in example, in Porto or in Nice, where there's local people who speak the local languages. That said, if you don't speak the local language, in these places you can get by fine with between your English and maybe their broken English, or Google Translate, or I think miming. But technology these days makes it really easy to connect with people. I use Google Translate often, and you can speak into it, and it'll speak it in the local language. I mean, and nowadays there's technology. I think the new Apple AirPods I don't have them, but they actually will translate, and you'll hear it in your ear, the translation of what some non-English speaker is saying to you. Why did you decide that only London would have both month-long and short stay availability? Is the general idea to have short stays in small towns orbiting your monthly larger cities? Um, Yes, that's exactly it. Michael and Jody, that question, you hit the nail on the head. It's primarily to have short stays in smaller towns that orbit our larger signature month-long programs. To do that month immersion and then go off and then immerse yourself in smaller towns. Or you can mix and match the smaller towns as well. And it's a bit of inside baseball here, but our signature month-long programs that people know and love, the housing, these independent apartments, um, to find that that has a consistent level of quality and amenities that our people want, even if they're independent apartments, right? It's not easy to find. And it really exists mostly in the larger cities. So we've had many people ask us, why don't you go to these smaller towns? Well, the simple answer for us is we'd love to, but we couldn't find independent apartments uh, in the sufficient quantity and quality that our community members require. And so we found that we go to these apart hotels. Yes, they're not as huge and spacious as having your own home, your own apartment, but they're very nice and clean and safe. And if it's a shorter period of time, it's perfectly fine. You're not going to have a huge kitchen with four burners, but a two burner electric stovetop, a microwave. It's perfectly sufficient for 2 weeks. That's sort of our logic. And by doing that, we're now able to expand into these smaller cities where people can do this type of immersion. Can you go over what transportation is available for excursion for airport transfer? Is any of that included? So transportation is not included in our program. People arrive at the airport, they hop in an Uber. It's very easy. We give you the address of your apartment building, and you hop over. And these cities are also very walkable, or have public transportation. And what we do on the orientation, the very first full day that you're in the destination, is we have this orientation, and we take you on public transportation and show you how to navigate yourself. We want to empower you to live like a local. Say, okay, I know if I'm going to go, there, this is the subway line I ride, and this is the direction, this is the platform I get on, not that one, but this one, and then I can get out and start to explore the city. So we encourage that, and so we don't pick you up at the airport, and we don't have buses that go on tours. We meet up at the locations where we're doing our events. And some people walk, some people take public transportation, some people take Ubers around, and not a problem. Uh, can I see this presentation again? Yes, this is all being recorded, and tomorrow we will have it available on as a video on YouTube, and it will also be emailed to everyone who registered for today's webinar. So you'll get this in your inbox tomorrow morning. Someone had more of a comment. Porto is amazing, says Michael. My sister lives 30 minutes from there, and I've been twice. Go! I agree with you, Michael. I couldn't agree more. Um, can you comment on how to handle car rental during a short stay? Parking availability. I would like to rent a car for maybe a day or two to explore around town and not parts not easily accessible via mass transit. Yeah, so it varies from location to location. In Edinburgh, for example, the property where we live at does not have its own parking lot, but guests at a property, all of us, all of you, um, can get 50% off at a public parking lot that's literally around the block from it. In Nice, it would be public parking lots. It would not, the property does not have it. And Porto as well, I believe. I want to double check that. But typically, because we're in the city center, they don't have their own parking lots. Um, but yes, so you can rent cars. For example, if you were in Porto and you wanted to go wine tasting, you wanted a car to get out to these little vineyards, not a problem. Our community managers can help you figure out how to rent the car and where to park it as well. And that's the beautiful thing about having the local staff there to support you. It's like, how do exactly do I do this? Um, the properties, how accessible are they for with spaces for walkers, canes, etc. The properties themselves are quite accessible. Yeah, if you have a walker or cane, I mean, you can walk in. I would say in some cases, wheelchairs might be a little more complicated, but with a walker, they all have elevators. They're all on one floor. There's no duplex apartments in our inventory of apartments, and there's space in there to store whatever support you need. Do you share the names of the apart hotels? Yes. I've been saying them quickly, but on our website, we actually list the names in the descriptions. When you click on our website locations, you go to the city, you can click and you can uh, scroll down to the parts of accommodations, and it'll be all in there. Um, do the short stays and regular programs, or by regular, I believe it means the month-long signature programs, do they mix it all? No, they're at different times. They're the only place they would mix, first of all, it would be London because it's the only city where we offer both types. But it's the same community manager that runs the London month-long program and the London short stay. And therefore, since he can't be at two places at once, we have the dates staggered. So he will be running a 2-week program, then he would go run a 4-week program. So they don't really mix. Can visitors be of any age, or do they have to be 55 plus? They can be of any age. They're just your visitor. You're welcome. It can be your kids, it can be your grandkids. They're visitors. But it's one of the reasons we also ask to not join the community activities, because that is a special time where it's 55 plus, and it's nice to have a teenager, but if they're suddenly the conversation's all about video games, like people are like, oh, it's not really my thing. When will you offer a short stay program in Spain? As I said, we're going to have a lot of new short stays coming up, and Spain is very much the next one to come. Spain and Italy are the two big glaring omissions from our short stay, but we had to start somewhere, right? We have to start somewhere, and one thing at a time. Edinburgh has been something people have requested for a lot, and London is obviously a great city, and south of France was a big gap in our portfolio, and Porto is people love Portugal. I love Portugal, and I wanted to have that there. But Spain and Italy will definitely be coming up as new destinations for short stays. Are airport pickups available? Yes, we partner with a company. It's this third-party company that all they do is airport transfers. And so when you book, you can ask your program coordinator for information about that, and we can provide you the link. And there's companies that literally all they will do is arrange private airport transfers. And there's also a company we've partnered with. Well, it's the same company. It's actually called Wings Travel. It's a full-service travel agency that does white glove, very high touch travel arrangements. And you can, once you book and you go into your account, we have something called our trip portal, and you'll see information to contact Wings. There's a form you can fill out so they know you're part of the Good Life Abroad. They know everything about our programs. They know our session dates. They know what airports to fly into, and they can book your plane ticket and arrange transfers. Or if you wanted to come in early, they can arrange hotels, etc. It's a full service, white glove, very high-end travel company or tour company or travel agency you can work with. Elevators, are they also available in all your 4-week locations? No, no, because our signature month-long programs are in independent apartments. In some cases, and many of them, they're in historic buildings. Those buildings, not all have elevators, specifically thinking of Florence. But it's a small building, so there's only 3 floors. But most all of the signature month-long programs, if you were not on the second floor, first or second floor, then the building will have an elevator. We make sure the building has an elevator with your apartments. And you could contact our office to really get like detailed. For example, in Barcelona, going forward, everyone will be in one building, and that building has an elevator. So it's bit by bit. You talk about Tuesday lunch, Wednesday activities, Thursday happy hour. What other community events are standard part of the experience? So that's it's sort of the orientation, the welcome party at night. That's on our first full day. Then Tuesday, the lunch club, Wednesday, some kind of cultural activity, Thursday, happy hour. And then we want to give you plenty of time to really explore and like live life at your pace, however you want to in the city. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, you're kind of no programming. And Tuesday, sort of fun to come back together as a community at lunch. Hey, so what'd you do this weekend? Oh, I found this place. We went to this town. You got to check it out. And then allow you to go off and do that, but have those touch points during those 3 days of the week. And then at the end, I should mention, we do a farewell party. So there's another party, and it's usually in a very beautiful setting. It's very fun and nice. Um, and that's it. And then there's all the informal things that the community does that's not really part of the standard experience that we provide, but it's a big part of the experience that everyone has. Yes, Virginia asks about air conditioning. Yes, all of them have air conditioning. Can you combine two-week short stays to make it a month long? Absolutely, we encourage that. It's a great way to kind of see a region. Now, the dates don't always line up. For example, if you said, I want to do 2 weeks in Porto and then 2 weeks in Nice, I don't know off the top of my head on all of the dates, but in some cases, like there might be a little gap, but it's a nice way to travel and then maybe spend a couple nights in a hotel, see another city, and then go and connect your next short stay. Do apart hotels have a private balcony? Uh, no, not generally. And it varies from property to property and apartment to apartment. But for the most part, I would bet on no, and you may get pleasantly surprised depending on the city that you're going to. I'm waitlisted. Chatting with Tessa. Yes, if you have questions that we don't address right now on today's webinar, please contact our office. Send an email to info at thegoodlifeabroad.com, and one of our representatives will answer your questions in detail. You can even schedule a Zoom meeting one-on-one with one of our representatives so you can go deep into whatever questions you might have. Are the clothes washer and dryer shared cost money inside the apartment? In the short stays in the apartment hotels, the washing machines are not in the apartments. In our month-long signature programs, they are because they're really independent apartments. But here, there's usually a laundry room, and it's a nominal fee, a couple euros to do wash and to do dryer. And the benefit is there's washers and dryers in our month-long programs because you're in an independent apartment. There's washers, but not dryers because most Europeans don't use dryers. They dry their clothes, they air dry them. And there's drying racks, which for Americans, it's kind of like, we don't love it so much, but hey, it's part about living like a local. But in these 2 week programs, there have laundry rooms and it's a small fee to use it. How many non-GLA participants are staying in the property? Are they travelers or permanent residents? In the short stays, let me be clear, these are our park hotels. So there's a building, London and Edinburgh, they're a large building, maybe have 100 apartments, or maybe 80. And then there's a lot of other travelers staying there. In Porto, it's still an apart hotel, but it's a smaller property. And same with Nice. I think in Nice, there's maybe 20 apartments. So these are and it's all non-TGLA people staying there. We only have a small batch of apartments in these buildings. Are the short stays in London and the month-long in London in the same location? And will there be an overlap? So there are different times, so there's no overlap, and they are also in different locations. In the short stay, we're in Paddington, near Paddington Station. And again, it's sort of compact, nice apart hotel. And then in the month-long program, it's a larger apartment out by King's Cross. King's Cross is another major rail station that's also has been renovated. That whole area has kind of been upgraded and redeveloped. And those apartments for the month-long program are larger kitchens, larger living rooms, heated floors. They all have balconies, but that's the month-long program, and that's different from the short stay location. So the average age is 67. Yeah, I think the median it hovers around there. It's about 68, 69. I don't know off the top of my head, but we have people, in the early 70s. We've got people in the late 50s. Are any meals included? Yes, all of the lunches and all the scheduled activities, the cooking classes, the historic tours, those are all included in the program fee. You don't pay for that. That's all included, including the insurance. Um, yep, you can forward the recorded link that we email you tomorrow. You can forward it to anyone you want. Spain, yes, we're going to do this in Spain. Um, is there housekeeping? Yes, there is weekly cleaning in all of the apartments. If a day trip is planned outside the city you're staying in, yeah, if there's a date, if there's a scheduled activity that is part of the Good Life Abroad program that is outside of town, for example, the community manager will help. Often what we'll do is like in our month-long programs, uh, we'll meet up at the train station. The community manager will have your tickets. We'll get on the train together. We'll take it to wherever we're going. We'll go do whatever we're going to do, and then we'll come back together. Um, does the Good Life Abroad address concerns of locals who are impacted by over tourism in their hometowns, sustainable tourism? Yeah, I think, I don't want to spend too much time because I could preach a sermon on this. The whole point of the Good Life Abroad is that we're not doing hit and run tourism. We're just kind of going through. I'll give you an example. In Florence, Italy, the average American is there for 2.5 days, right? And they stay in the same area right around the cathedral, and they don't explore out there. The mayor of Florence loves the Good Life Abroad, and I said, this is a model of tourism I can get behind because people are staying for longer. They're going off and exploring outside of that little perimeter, that most of the tourists don't. If you have 2 days, you're just going to go there. But these guys, Andrew, the Good Life, they're going off little artisans, mom and pop restaurants. They're exploring. They're spreading that tourism money all over. And we're not using Airbnbs. In fact, we're using a different stock of housing inventory. So we're not competing with local people's housing. So I can go into this a lot, but suffice to say that it's actually becoming a model for some cities to think about how can they do tourism that actually benefits their community versus just kind of spending money in just a few different places or with just multinational companies. Ireland is on our list of future destinations. We have waiting lists for if you want to. Yes, sometimes we have last minute openings. We will email you, but I encourage you if you're interested in something, join a wait list. Join our wait list. If you go on our website and you click book now, there's a little switch you can toggle that says show wait list options. I believe something with wait list, and join those wait lists because something opens up. The first thing we're going to do is go to those wait lists and we email them and say, hey, we have a spot, or hey, we have a spot on this date instead of that day, but maybe you can make that work, right? Or we have a last minute vacancy that we want to fill. So join those wait lists. We use them often and they're very important. Can I only book a short stay? Absolutely. You can definitely book just a short stay. You can just do 2 weeks somewhere. We understand that sometimes that's all you want to do, or it's all you can do at that moment. Will the Good Life Abroad, will TGLA expand into Germany, different parts of the world? Yes, Germany's on our radar. If you go to our website under locations, there's a menu option. The very bottom it says future destinations, and these are sort of places we have on our radar. We don't have a time frame yet, but Germany and Ireland and other parts of Spain and Italy are all there. Um, okay, I know it varies widely, but from your experience, how often do community members end up doing day trips or touring of museums, churches, beaches together? How often do they end up dining together? I think it varies person by person because one of the things I would say in general, it probably happens in a week 3 times, but it varies. See, an average in this case is not very helpful because some people are just more private. I don't want to be with people all the time. I want to go do my own thing, and that's perfectly fine. So some people go do that, and there's always a batch of people who want to go hang out and do things with other people. And so I know one person on this webinar because I've seen them in country has almost every night would go out with different people in the group. And so they were social and they enjoyed it. you're not going to be best friends with everyone in the group, but you're going to find that subset of people you really click with. And then those people, it's like, oh, hey, want to grab dinner? Yeah, okay, cool. We're going to try out this new place. So it depends on the person if you're more social. But in general, this program really attracts people who are uh, community oriented, who like the idea of having this community and want to be part of a community. Um, but introverts welcome too. And I know some of the people on this webinar who claim to be introverts, and they like that they can go and be social for like 2 hours at lunch or a cooking class, but then they can go back to their apartment and or go explore by themselves. So there's something for everyone, but we tend to attract people who really do enjoy being around other human beings. Is there a way to see amenities for a property? Yep, you can go to our website, click locations, go to your location, and scroll down to accommodations. There'll be more details about the apartments. How well do restaurants, markets? Yeah, I mean, dietary restrictions, it varies massively from city to city. But if you're, gluten-free, we've had people with that, dairy-free, I've seen that. Now, obviously in France, that might be a little trickier because a lot of sauces and creams. So I would say it really depends on the location. Um, but for our community lunches, we can accommodate vegetarian, vegan, gluten-free. Not a question, but I appreciate the whole idea of community freedom to explore. Great concept. Thank you. Thank you, David. That's very nice. Um, Plans for Malta. Yeah, not yet. Does the 395 cover one people or two people? We're running out of time, so I'm going like rapid fire here. 395 is per person. Is there a single supplement? No, there's not a single supplement. And you don't pay double the cost. What most of the time solo travelers will do is they'll opt for a studio apartment. A studio, as the name implies, is a little bit smaller, and so therefore the cost is lower. And then and so it's a different fee that's a little bit less. But a studio apartment works great for one person. If you're a couple, I would encourage you to look more at the one-bedroom apartments. For the short stays, I think we have two-bedroom apartments only in Edinburgh. But otherwise it's usually studios or one bedrooms. Okay, we're running up on time here. Thank you all for coming. Thank you for being interested in short stays with the Good Life Abroad. Thank you for caring about cultural immersion and appreciating other cultures and remembering that we're all one country and we're all need each other and depend on each other and world peace and all that good stuff. All right. See you out there. Remember, wherever you are, you deserve the good life. Take care.